welcome back, everybody, to Offsides, the official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. I am your host, Andres Robledo, and I am once again joined by my co-host, Pablo Robledo. Pablo, how was the weekend?
What's up, man? It's a good weekend. Masters weekend.
Woot woot. Tiger Woods did not win, so who cares?
No, but he did play, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, probably his last one ever.
The walk of retirement.
Oh, but we're not here to talk about Tiger Woods. We're here to talk about our pickup team. What'd you think of the game yesterday?
Let's talk about Tiger Woods a little bit.
What do you want to say about Tiger Woods?
He's done.
Yeah, he's definitely done. He's more robot than man at this time.
He is like the $1 billion man.
We have the technology.
If there was somebody that was gonna rebuild Tiger, who would it be? Titleist?
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Once he could colonize Mars, that's his next passion project.
You get the green jacket and then rockets shoot out of his legs and he just flies out of there.
Gonna be the first golfer to win a tournament on Mars.
Or he could like have like secret compartments in his leg, like he just pops out and just drops a ball, like, oh, there's my ball. Yep.
And he runs on Monster Energy drink.
Yeah. He is sponsored by Monster. I'm like, what are we? 23 again?
Yeah. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Tiger Woods. We're here to talk about Charlotte FC and their amazing 1-0 win over Atlanta. And then who do they play next? New England?
You know, just to go back to Tiger, he's sponsored by Monster and he's not drinking a Monster on a golf course, which is like all I drink on the golf course.
Yeah. I do like Monster.
All right. Let's talk about Charlotte.
Yeah, so Charlotte FC, big rivalry match over the weekend. Atlanta United made the long trip up north to the Bank of America Stadium. And they got dealt with, 1-0 win. Incredible goal. Now, should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, it was a pretty early goal, which helped set the momentum. It's always good when you can kind of just start setting the pace of the game and controlling the clock early on. You and I were talking about this earlier, where some guy said that most likely somebody in Atlanta, they thought that maybe the wind caught it, or the goal. You said the goalie said that.
Yeah, Brad Guzan said in some interview.
You don't see too many goals like that. So when I first saw it, I was like, man, that was pretty lucky. But you did mention that they had been practicing it, so.
Yeah, according to Alcivar, he said that him and Bender were practicing it, and that was like a big, thing on the scouting report was that, Atlanta's not very good at defending set pieces right now. So,
right.
I'm sure he just wanted to try it once, saw that he was going to be off his line and then just went for it and curled in.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, that's actually called an Olympical goal.
Olympio?
An Olympical. Or an Olympic goal, basically. And I think there's been 10 in the MLS.
Oh.
Since 2010 or something like that, or maybe 11 since 2010. But here is a fun World Cup fact for you, since we're in a World Cup year. Do you know how many have been scored in the World Cup?
0.
1.
By Cristiano Ronaldo.
No.
Oh.
It was by a Colombian player in 1962 against, at that time, the number one Russian goalkeeper, or the number one keeper who was Russian. And he scored on a corner kick.
Putin?
Yeah.
Putin.
In 1962.
Putting him in Putin.
But yeah, pretty crazy.
Well, that's pretty good. Colombian player. I like that. But 1962, I mean, it's a long time.
I mean, it had to have been harder to do it back then with the balls they use. Like, those things are super heavy and hard to spin.
Yeah. Leather was like a lot heavier, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about heavier, but just they use more of it, I'm sure.
Yeah. So crazy. But I mean, to talk about just those first opening 10 minutes, glad they scored early because it looked like they needed to be settled down a little bit. Kind of felt like Atlanta was not necessarily attacking that much in that first half, but definitely pressuring in our own half more and had the ball up near our goal a lot those first 8 to 10 minutes or so, and then kind of felt like that goal really changed it around. What'd you think?
Oh yeah. I'm sure there was a lot of pressure going in when this game first started, as this is our first opponent that we faced twice, of many. Next is New England, which they're not looking that strong either.
Yeah.
But how we talked about it last week was it being a revenge game, it being a rival game, it being a game that needed to be won to start setting up for if we want to stay competitive for the playoffs, and build a momentum for other games. It needed to be a game that needed to be won. So I'm glad that they got that goal in early, settled those nerves, and then just control the momentum of the whole game.
Yeah. And to kind of set the game up again, it was a great turnout by the crowd, 32,500 people, the most in all of MLS this weekend.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
Yeah.
And kind of wanted to talk to you about the rivalry because I think the funny thing is like it feels like Atlanta United tries to play it down the most, but then also tries to instigate the most. I don't know if you saw any of their Twitter shenanigans or whatnot, but they were like really poking at it, but then also try to play down like, oh, it's not a rivalry, it's similar storylines to when we first played them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think this game says about that now?
Well, what were some of the? Do you have some of the tweets that they said? Because I'd be curious to know. First, I'm not on Twitter. I don't use Twitter. Um, I'm too old for Twitter. I don't know how to work any of that. I barely know how to work Instagram. But I'm just curious to see what they're saying, because how could this not be a rivalry team? You're only 3.5 hours away. And like you said, it was 32 or 33,000 fans. I'm sure there was a lot of Atlanta fans because it's such an easy drive to make. It's just straight up 85. How is this not going to be like a rivalry? It's in its early stages, yes, but I mean, with any sports teams that are here, as far as like Panthers and Atlanta, that's always a rivalry. And who else do they have? Well, we don't have baseball, but
No, but
still,
yeah.
it's just it all kind of fits in. I don't see how it's not a rivalry.
Yeah, so this tweet that I'm going to show you, and if everyone wants to go to the Atlanta United Twitter,
Don't go to their Twitter.
It's a picture that they tweeted out, kind of like making fun of our stadium and stuff, but like look at it with the caption, King City.
Oh yeah, I like that. We are kings.
Well, no, they're saying they're the king because we're Queen City.
I retract that then.
Yeah. So like stuff like that, like when you put that, and then I think also like on their app, they had like a camera filter where if you pointed it like at the stadium, it turned all the seats like red and whatnot.
Oh,
So, like they're doing like extra stuff, and it's like, all right, well, you can't have it both ways of being like, we're not a rival, or you guys are nothing compared to us, but then also, go above and beyond all this extra stuff and do all these little things like that.
yeah.
And then, I mean, some of the Atlanta fans, if you're an Atlanta fan and you're listening, you guys are wild and out there. Someone said that there was 6,000 to 8,000 Atlanta fans in the stadium. That was just not true at all. Yeah. Like I've seen pictures of the whole stadium and there's like half a section filled with Atlanta fans.
That's, I think just the supporters.
A couple hundred, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's pretty, outrageous to hear. And then a lot were, and I knew this was going to happen. I don't think we talked about it early on, but I knew that they were going to use the injuries as an excuse. Josef Martino being out, Alonso being out. But Atlanta United has spent more money on their squad than I think anyone else. It's definitely more than Charlotte. So you can't complain about not having depth when you've spent 16 million on one guy, 12 million on another.
Yeah.
Like I think our two DP signings equate to what they spent on just one of their guys named Moreno. So it's you can't really, I don't want to hear about the injuries when you have that much depth in your team and you're spending that much money.
No, that's just signs of a sore loser right there. I mean, this just goes back to when we got our first win against New England, and they were saying that, oh, we only lost because we had that Wednesday night game. It's like, no, you didn't. You lost because you're sorry, and you lost against Miami, which were at the bottom of the table. I think they still are, but either way, like they're 13th or 12th place in the tables right now. It's like you're just not a good team right now. That's all it is. You're not losing because you got injuries or because you had an away game. It just wasn't your game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just got outplayed.
Yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to mention before we dive back into the match was what did you think of like us having to play them so early again in the season? Would you have preferred to, kind of like let more storylines develop and play them again later on in the season, or you kind of find where the games fell in the schedule?
No, I like that we played them again early. Uh, like we said last week, if it hadn't been for that PK we gave away when we went down there and played them, that would have been easily just a 1-1 game, and we would have been fine with that. This game, besides that one goal we had a lot of opportunities to go up more. But also, since we were up by one already, I saw a lot of guys taking more chances out there as far as shooting from outside the box or just trying crosses that we probably wouldn't normally try. So I like that we played them again early, and then it just goes back to showing them like we are a good team,
Yeah, absolutely.
We didn't have to mess with our lineup too much or do a bunch of crazy sign-ins, things like that. Like this is the squad we've had. Even the signings we have brought on didn't play on this game. Jones
no Jones
didn't make a start. Obviously Yazviak is I think still injured, but he didn't start. It's just the same guys you dealt with last game are just now better prepared, and they weren't.
Yeah, you can see the progress between the first time we played Atlanta to now. Like we created way more chances. Like we're mixing it up between playing through the middle and playing crosses in and looking dangerous on set pieces. It's overall a lot better, and the defense was definitely more disciplined this go around.
A lot more disciplined. And going back to that goal, that our first goal was from a header in Atlanta.
Yeah, off a corner.
Then this game-winning goal and only goal was also from a header. So,
well, no, he curled it in.
Well, yeah, from a corner.
From a corner.
I meant to say from a corner.
Yeah,
is what I meant to say. So both goals are from corners, which I believe you said that they're not good at us against these set pieces.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of teams have taken advantage of that over Atlanta. But moving on to the other parts of the first half, again, I felt like for the majority of the half, we really took control, creating a lot of chances, testing the keeper from a lot of different angles. I think pretty unlucky to not get another goal or two in, and then
so many close moments came though.
Yeah, and Kalina kind of kept us in as well. I think Atlanta had maybe one or two real chances in that second half, and he stepped up big and kept a clean sheet.
Yeah, second clean sheet from Kalina, and he really, like you said, he really stepped up and just saved this match for us when he needed to. I mentioned to you that earlier, it's McCoon didn't start. We win, and it's a clean sheet, so.
There might be something there.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, and I think the addition of Franco being back in the squad made a huge difference as well. It felt like him and Alcivar were, just kind of like the engines of the team. They were covering a lot of ground and, really setting us up in the transition, of getting forward after we won the ball. Huge difference between, this game and last week's game against Philly, where we couldn't, develop the attack really, even if we had the ball a lot. We were stuck in our own half. I think, Franco and Alcivar, connecting makes a huge difference in this team.
Yeah, I'm glad the team was able to rebound from that loss, because that you and I were talking about this earlier. It was, where we just having a bad game against Philly that we couldn't make these scoring opportunities like we had so many of on this game, or we just outplayed. And I still go back to being know that Philly was a stronger and better team, and we were just outplayed. But I'm glad the team was able to just shrug that loss off and just come back strong, and put another win at home. That's 3 wins out of the 4 that we played at home. Now we just got to start working on some road victories.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you hit the road, you need to at least get 1 point away, if you're going to be a championship contending team. But I think this next week against New England, which we'll touch on a bit more here in a second or in a few minutes, will definitely be a good test, and catching New England again at a good time, after they just had that really bad loss to Inter Miami.
Yeah, and for any New England fans out there that are listening, just start working on those excuses now. Whatever Wednesday game you got coming up, or sit those starters, because you're gonna lose again. I mean, they just gave up 3 goals to what's it, Campana or whoever it is from Miami. It's a team that's just in bad form right now. So I just hope our guys don't take it too lightly.
Yeah,
They should really use this game to one, maybe give some of our main starters an early rest in the second half.
If we're up, yeah.
Right, if we're up, but also try to use this game to get our goal aggregate up.
Yeah.
That way we can start, because now we're 5th place in the tables, 1 below Atlanta. So now we got to really fight to stay there and climb our way up. So anytime you start battling these teams that are in bad form or just bottom of the table, really use that to just get that goal aggregate up and secure a playoff spot.
Yeah, I think it'll be big going, getting 3 points as many times as we can going forward. Just because honestly, like that top 5, it's pretty bunched up. I think we're only 1 point behind Atlanta, and I think Cincinnati as well, to get into that top 4. So a lot of opportunities there. We just really need to quit dropping points on the road, at least split points if we can.
Yeah. Right now, the way it's looking, it's Philadelphia, which right now in the MLS, I believe they're the only team that is undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Orlando in second, New York, which is going to be a June game, not too far off, in third. Then you got Atlanta, and then Charlotte.
Yeah, it's a pretty bunched up table up there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as far as points, we got 9. Atlanta's got 10. New York has 10. Orlando's got 11. Chicago, they're below us, but they got 9 as well. So it's critical moment right now. This is where you really got to just fight to stay where you're at, or because 3 points could knock you up or knock you down, or make you increasingly jump up.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting though.
It will. Let's jump into the second half. What did you think of the second half performance overall?
Second half, I thought, I thought we should have pressured more to get a second goal, which they did. They just missed a lot of their shots. But I was expecting a second goal to just like drop in at any minute.
Yeah, I thought we created a lot of good chances. The one that jumps out to me the most is, towards the end of that half with Ortiz, actually, where he kind of shovels that ball around the guy and then hits it and just barely
misses it outside. Yeah, that should have went in. There was a couple other shots. I think Alcivar had a second shot from outside the box, which again, it goes back to us being up 1, and why not take one from way out there when you can. But I like that they pressured and kept trying to score, which they should have. to really cement that win, because 2-0 in the second half would have just been absolutely devastating to any Atlanta hope at all. Like that would
Yeah.
just knock the breath right out.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the way we were controlling and creating chances.
Mm-hmm. Thought we moved the ball really well, um, through the middle and then working up to the sides. In comparison to last week, where if we had any guys in the middle, it might have been like one or two for a cross.
Yeah.
Where now we have like 3 or 4 guys.
Not only that too, we're having guys like running into the box and then holding off their run at the top for like the
Mm-hmm.
drop back pass to have a shot on. Like we're definitely starting to, attack in different ways, especially compared to, the first 2 games where it was just all crosses to, just one guy in the box.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone's starting to kind of get better chemistry together and find space and attack really well.
exactly. Which, if it hadn't been for obviously the COVID and all that kind of held some of the training up, um, this team could have probably gotten off to a much better start than they did. But I mean, they picked up the pace fast,
Yeah.
and they started to figure out, who's going to be where and how to place the ball and things like that, and where to position yourself if there's a bad shot or a rebound. It's all starting to click much faster than anticipated.
Yeah, totally agree. A lot of great individual performances as well. I thought Jalen Lindsay had another good game, kind of, performance that shows that he earned the contract extension.
Yeah.
And, he's just getting better and better each game as well. I, see him starting to put in a lot more threatening crosses. I kind of felt like last week, a lot of his crosses were just met by a defender and kind of just going straight out.
Mm-hmm.
This week, it seemed like he was finding a target man a bit more and, pushing and using his pace to get by people a bit more as well.
Yeah. We saw that one highlight where he like outran 2 guys with the ball, which is, it's hard enough to run with the ball, but to outpace somebody while you're dribbling, that takes a lot of skill. I'm glad he renegotiated his contract and decided to stay with Charlotte. It goes to show you that these guys, they're all shooting for a goal and they believe in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to, the manager, Miguel Ramirez, really, coaching these guys very well, playing some very interesting soccer,
Mm-hmm.
and clearly has like everyone, put together behind a certain idea or goal.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, what did you think of the reffing for this being, from what I saw, it's a pretty physical game for some of these throughout the game.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna see a lot more yellows, but he just kind of did, the free kicks or just play ons.
Yeah,
I
it
saw
seemed
a
like
lot of play ons where another ref would have just called it and stopped the play altogether.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It seemed like he let a lot of stuff go and kind of just develop.
Right.
I just thought the big glaring thing was him missing the handball, or I don't know if he missed it or just agreed that it hit the guy's body and then the arm first. But the angle I saw, it looked like it hit the body or hit the guy's arm, and then his stomach. But to then, he booked Bronico for, I guess like talking back or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
asking why it wasn't a handball or saying, it was a handball, call or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, that's a discipline thing that Bronico and other players will have to work on, of just, once the call doesn't go your way, just let it go and play on. But also, it just felt like that was kind of like a bit of a ridiculous thing to do, to card him right away. It seemed like he could have just gave him a warning. But other than that, it felt like he let a lot of stuff slide.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. He let a lot of stuff slide. Going back to the supposed handball, had it been called, man, I would have been all for it. But once they showed the replay, where I watched the game on TV and they showed it from multiple angles, and from 2 of the angles that I still remember is, it did hit the body first and then bounce up to the hand. So I don't know if that's how he saw it.
Yeah, or maybe he just
didn't
got
want
the
to
word
call
from
it,
the
but
fourth official or something.
right, yeah, and I'm sure the communication down there with the microphones, or whatever they're using. Somebody said no, it's not handball, but still,
Yeah.
to not give it right away, that was pretty good. I thought it was good reffing for the most part.
Yeah, I think it was definitely.
Kind of went both ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely the most consistent I've seen throughout the season. It felt like some games we've had, the refing has been really inconsistent.
Atrocious.
Yeah, I think it. I think it was even when we played Atlanta the first time that I thought the refing was really bad there.
Yeah, that guy
really
was
inconsistent.
card happy.
Yeah, but not only that, but just inconsistent on like what got a card and what didn't, what was called and what wasn't. So I don't know. Yeah, this one was definitely probably the best I've seen all season.
Yeah.
So a couple of lineup changes we didn't really talk about. We went to the 4-4-2. Rios is back in starting. Obviously Franco is back in, and like you said, no McCoon in that 4-4-2. Mora, being like out there left back. Two things I want to touch on, and we kind of touched on the Franco thing already, so I guess we can kind of skip by it unless you have anything else to say.
No, you know what? I Franco started as a right wing, right? And Alcivar in the center.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing that comes to mind is with Ortiz being the number 10. Like to me, number 10 is always a starter, right? Ortiz has shown that he doesn't belong in that starter pack. He's just out of form. The few chances that he's gotten, he's wasted or just missed. So now I'm starting to wonder, like maybe next season, do they renumber it?
Yeah, I mean, could go to
Alcivar
Bender.
Seems to be the
could go to Alcivar.
Number 10.
Yeah,
and some players are like set on their numbers, but I don't think Alcivar would settle for what is he, number 8 right now? I'm sure he would love the number 10 jersey.
Yeah. I mean, he could go to Yazwiak as well, when he comes in, being that kind of.
How he does, it's one thing to see his highlights and how he's done overseas, but to come over here and now you gotta kind of mess with the dynamic of the team a little bit more. Although Rios has been quiet.
He's done his job though.
Yeah, he's done a good job. His presence is out there, and he's pressured where he needs to pressure, and he's passed the ball to make good plays. So
yeah, he holds the ball really well. His finishing kind of leaves something to be desired, but I think his ball control is good enough, and his spacing's good. He connects with Bender really well. He's a good target man for the defense to just boot a ball up to him when we're trying to get out, and he's able to just hold on to it.
Plus he's tall, which is good for those corners.
Yeah, we just haven't seen him connect on one yet.
No, yeah, he's kind of always like near the near post.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not in that last one, but from some of the ones that I've seen, he's kind of like near post guy, which is, to me, that's always a hard target.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other, big thing I wanted to just mention on the lineup was the shift to Fuchs to center back and Mora at left back. I mean, I think that combo right there and that back line definitely feels more secure than what we've seen the last couple games.
Yeah. Fuchs getting gassed at that left back, and then McCoon just getting outplayed by anybody that steps in there.
Yeah, I thought Fuchs had a better game.
I talk all this trash about McCoon, but overall, he's a good enough defensive player. To me, not good enough to start, but good enough to go in at like a 60 or 70th minute substitution to give some of these guys a break.
And he's young too. Like, he's gonna develop.
Yeah,
I definitely think he needs to get some playing time.
To me, he's just not a starter right now.
Yeah, I have to, the way the back line played, yesterday, I have to agree. I think, I think Mora's really solid defensively, and he can get up and attack, and we've seen him rip a few shots and get close and provide some good crosses and passes, some good link up play with Bender. But first and foremost, I think he's a good defender. I don't really recall a lot of stuff on that left side getting by him, or a lot of players really, gliding by him. And it feels like it helps Bender have a better game. or not Bender, Fuchs
Yeah,
have a better game. I think, we were a little critical of Fuchs last week, and I think rightfully so.
yeah. And I think
But
also
this week I thought he was a lot better.
he's starting to pick up a little bit on what Lindsey does, is taking up that space that they give him, running all the way up as a kind of a second winger.
Yeah.
He's starting to do some of that as well, which is good, which is a big advantage of that 4-4-2 formation.
Yeah.
Which is those wingers can really play up there, and the left backs just kind of shoot up to maybe half field. Although Lindsey will run it all the way down, but that's good if they have the energy and they can keep the pace up all game like that. Like, why not attack more?
Yeah. And I think, for the formation that we're playing and for Lindsey and stuff as well, I think it's also, it almost keeps things like simple where you kind of know your job a little bit easier,
Yeah,
as we're like that 3-5-2 for like guys like Mora and Lindsey. It's a little more complex because it's like, all right, we have the ball, I need to play more like a winger. We
yeah,
lost the ball, I need to get back, and it's just a little more demanding, not only physically but just mentally, and really being able to be aware of like what your job is at all times.
yeah. What do you think of which surprised me, but what do you think of Bronico starting again? He had an okay game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, he's not doing anything that's costing the game. He's a workhorse. He gets everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if I necessarily see him like winning the ball at super critical times, or really like finding that defense splitting pass from deep in our own half to start a quick counterattack. He kind of just does everything really well, but nothing like that great.
Right.
So he's not hurting the team, but I think there's definitely
Nothing where he's gonna like end up on a Sports Center highlight or something like that.
right, yeah. And I think from that position of like that deep defensive midfielder, you can have kind of a more playmaker role.
Yeah.
And at least to me, that's what I like to see that role be. Not just a great defender, but someone that can also, win a ball, turn, and then, split the defense with a pass, or, just start the counterattack really quickly, or even just charge up the field with it, and hit like a long range shot for a goal.
And he hasn't had. Has he had it? I don't think he's had any shots on goal.
Not that I can think of.
No, and even from us looking at the highlights of the game, I don't think he's even been in any of just the regular highlights.
Yeah. So
He's
again,
not a big playmaker.
yeah, it's almost like he's not
Just
like
out.
he's out there. He's not a weakness or anything. I don't think teams are, blowing by him, or he's the reason teams are, attacking well, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think he's literally like kind of just doing his job, and not really like, I don't know. Just don't see a lot of creativity out of him. A lot of it's almost like he's kind of like almost like in hockey where you have like your goon, like the enforcer kind of guy. He kind of almost seems like that. He's
Yeah.
not like really a skill player, at least to my eyes. I did see him get a lot of praise this game, by a lot of people on social media, and I don't know what his sofa score was.
Let's see. I can check for you real quick. It's a
He had
7.2.
Yeah, so that's higher than he's gotten in the last couple of games.
Right. Yeah. Although most of these guys were in the sevens. Alcivar even he had I think he got MVP for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin was 7.1. Alcivar was 8.3. You got the back, with the exception of Mora, they were all 7.5, 7.4, 7.1.
Yeah, so
Soderski and Rios got sevens. But like you said, he's not out there. He's not threatening enough to draw guys. He's not strong enough to really stop a whole play, but he does kind of just, he's like a speed bump. He makes you slow down.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Again, it's like, and I've seen like stats of his and stuff like online, and stats are great, right? But it ultimately kind of comes, at least for me, it ultimately comes down to the eye test, right?
Right.
Just for me, he's not failing the eye test, but he's not passing it either. Like if I had to draft a whole new team, I'm probably not taking him.
Like to me, yeah, exactly. It's like how involved are they in those critical parts of the game that you would recognize this guy walking down the street. Like
Yeah.
if I saw Lindsay or Bender or Soderski, even Kalina, like I would know who they are now in the street. Bronico, maybe if he's wearing his jersey, I'm like, oh yeah, you like him? I still wouldn't know who he is. But I don't know. I still like to see Jones in a little bit more.
Yeah, I do wonder because when he got the start against Cincinnati, I mean that was the first clean sheet. I thought the midfield, transition looked really good there. He interlinked with both wingbacks really well. And then also he's a big presence on set pieces, both on the offensive and defensive side.
You need those tall guys.
So I do wonder like what's causing him not getting any playing time now after the first 2 weeks he got decent playing time. Maybe it's just something in practice, or maybe Bronico's just outworking him right now. But again, to the eye test, I think Jones has more talent, but maybe the work ethic isn't there. I don't know. I'm not at the training ground.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what Ramirez is seeing. But it's all speculation.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Armor. He went back in, finally got some minutes, late minutes, but still he did make the most of them. Enough to where I did notice him.
Yeah.
And then Gaines, he went.
Yeah, it was nice to see Mackenzie Gaines going.
Was this his first game?
No, he started against Atlanta last time.
Oh, did he? Okay, alrighty. I thought he did really well.
Yeah, he almost had a goal of his own. Beat a couple players and then tried to curl it into that far post and just missed. But
seems to have a lot of speed to him.
Yeah, and he's kind of like a lot of the players on this team. He's young. I think early 20s. KC guy, good dribbler. But again, at that position that he's at, there's kind of a lot of depth and competition at right now, which is good to have.
And now we're still early in the season. We're 5 games in? No, more than that. But still, we got a long ways to go. But now you're starting to see
7 games in.
7 games in.
Or 3 and 4.
But now we're starting to see where these guys are really kind of cementing their roles, and you're starting to see like who's going to be starting, and to get into that starting position at practice time, it's hard. You're gonna have now the coach is probably making up his mind of who's A team and who's B team.
Yeah, I think I don't think we've mentioned it yet, but they're playing in that U.S. Open Cup against Greenville, a USL team, I believe. That'll kind of be a big tell on who's kind of reserves compared to starters.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
And then the one that also subbed, what was his name? No, Gaines went in. Alonso went in. I thought Ruiz went in, but I guess not.
No, he did.
He
definitely did? Yeah, I saw him go in.
Oh, yeah, he did. Okay, yeah. Ruiz went in around the 84th minute.
For Alcivar.
When I saw his name pop up as coming in the game, I was a bit surprised and also a bit disappointed and worried. Maybe not worried because he was good enough in the other games, but not great to where he's going to make a big difference.
Yeah.
And I thought they should have put in somebody like Awful. I still like, from the few games that I've seen Awful play, I was really impressed.
Yeah.
And I was not impressed by Ruiz's game at all.
Yeah, I think he's kind of the guy that you can, when you're trying to grind out the win, I don't mind him going in because he doesn't really tend to lose the ball. Passes it around decently.
Yeah.
But he's definitely like not the final ball kind of guy. His finishing is again something that really leaves to be desired.
Yeah, but when I saw him go in, I'm thinking, okay, so like are they just trying to grind out the clock, like you mentioned, or in my mind, I'm thinking they should be going for that second goal, um, just because it would just cement the win. Period. It would just it's the final nail in the coffin, um, and it would just demoralize Atlanta big time.
Yeah, well, he came in on the 84th minute, so I think by then they're trying to just grind out the win and not let what happened the first time happen again of giving up a late
A
goal
late goal,
in
yeah,
stoppage time. Because
it
there's
makes sense for
definitely
that scenario.
yeah, there's definitely some chances very late in the second half for Atlanta. At the 88th minute,
Yeah,
they had their young star almost headed in, just catching Lindsay really flat footed. And then at the 93rd minute, they had the corner kick that
yeah, which I was like, man, I thought that's when it was coming.
yeah.
I can't believe they gave up a corner that late in the game. I mean, you gotta do something else besides give that up.
Yeah. But I
But
mean,
overall, I'm happy with the results. I'm happy with how the team performed, especially against this team.
yeah, it felt good to win this one. And it's that first kind of game where we get, points back after dropping points away.
Yeah,
Which is nice. Hopefully we're able to do that again against Philly. That'll be interesting to see.
that's gonna be a tough match. I'm just gonna let all the listeners know now, all 50 of y'all, it's gonna be a tough match. Philly is still undefeated, and it's for a good reason. I mean, those guys are
Yeah.
just laser focused right now.
And it's just crazy, like, because you and I were talking about it off the podcast. Did Charlotte look better today? Or they definitely did look better again in this matchup against Atlanta. But was that because that's how good Philly is, that they make you look that bad when you play them, or did we just have a really off game? And I think we kind of both agree that that's just how good Philly is.
Yeah,
With that high intensity pressure that just suffocated us in our own half.
yeah, because thinking back on it, when we watched the highlights of the Cincinnati and Philly game, Philadelphia didn't look that strong of a team as they did compared to us.
Yeah.
But maybe they were just they weren't going 100%, or they weren't going. They didn't have it. Maybe they were just holding back, because it was Cincinnati and it was going to be I guess a win for them. But
Or it's almost even like they don't really need to create a bunch of chances or really dominate games. It's kind of like, they just need to get 2 or 3 opportunities, and that's all they need to win a game.
yeah,
And then they know how to just close it out.
yeah, or good our guys just got very demoralized by that early goal, and then just completely broke down on the second half, because that's I'd hate to talk about this loss again, but that second half goal that was so early on, I mean, that can just be a killer,
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, absolutely. But any final thoughts on the Atlanta game? Any other performances you want to shout out or anything?
no, I know we talked about Kalina, and he definitely saved us. Good job on him. Congratulations again on the clean the clean sheet to him. I'm sure he does take clean shits. But also just Alcivar really impressed me.
Probably his game of the season so far, right?
I think so, yeah. But just the chances that he was creating and the shots that he was taking, I was really impressed by both him and Franco this go around.
Yeah, and it's nice to see players take the pressure off of Swiderski and Bender.
Yeah, exactly.
Early in the season, it was like beginning of the season, it kind of felt like all the pressure was on Bender to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And then, once Swiderski started scoring goals, 2 weeks in a row where he scores 2 goals in a game, then it was kind of like, all right, he's the guy that needs to carry Charlotte. But now, he kind of he still had a good game, a little quieter than, the last couple weeks, obviously. But now Alcivar stepped up, and he was kind of all over the field, creating chances, taking chances, obviously scored the goal. So it's nice to just see other offensive pieces, starting to pick up some of the work.
Right. Yeah. That way, they're not just marking only Bender or Soderski. Like, you got to start, instead of putting 2, 3 guys on Soderski or Bender, now you got to spread them out.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is last week when Alcivar had that just horrendous field goal
Oh yeah.
of a free kick, I was really worried. I'm like, is this guy cut out to be as a starter? But he definitely, you can see why he's a starter. I mean,
Yeah.
he was in top form this last weekend.
Yeah. Definitely gonna need him to carry it over to the next match.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, we are away again. For the next 3 weeks, we'll actually be away against New England. We'll be in New England playing them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little nervous about this game because they did just get humiliated by Inter Miami, and teams tend to take that one of two ways. Either that's a confidence shaker and makes it another easy win for the next opponent, or it's something that really will fire you up. And especially after losing to us once, then losing to Inter Miami, they've got a lot to prove, a lot of critics to shut up and things like that. So a little worried of how they might fire back. But I think if the team plays like they did this Sunday, and even if they just, which I would say this Sunday they played better than when they won against New England, I would have to say there. So if they can just keep up this performance, I think they should walk away with a win. I think even a 2-0 win is what I'm kind of predicting.
Yeah, I would say with it being away, 2-0 sounds about right.
Yeah, it'd be good to get their first away win as well.
Right. Yeah, I can definitely see us, just because New England it does not seem to be a team that is in form right now.
Yeah.
Very demoralized by a lot of losses. So the team is questioning themselves, questioning their teammates, their abilities. Whereas we're coming off of a win, and then we're coming to face a team that we have beat before. So this should be 100% a win for us in our first away game win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see, from how we have been playing and how New England has been playing, I don't see why we couldn't come up with a win here.
Yeah, I don't either. And I think it'll be really important to get this first away win because you're going on the road for 3 weeks. Don't have a good away record at all. You haven't won any of them, and you lose this first one off of, and you've got 2 more away games before you're back at home. That can feel like a really long period of time. That can be a really demoralizing loss. So really want to see them, pick up the win, keep the momentum going, and just kind of start establishing their away record a bit better.
Yeah. I like but I like the teams also that we're facing on away. I believe now, are you counting these Greenville guys as?
No, I'm not.
Okay, you're talking about Colorado and Orlando.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. No, yeah, I mean Colorado is not. I haven't looked at too many of their highlights. Orlando is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Orlando is definitely going to be the one we need to really build momentum up for.
Yeah.
Miami should be. I believe they're coming here, so that should be a win as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be, a progressively harder schedule away. New England 1-4-1. We should be able to make easy work of that. Colorado 2-2-2. Again, I don't have, too much knowledge of Colorado, but that's a decent record, nothing crazy. We'll have to see how that one goes. And then Orlando, that's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, they're number 2 right now on the tables.
Yeah, that might be the first draw, honestly, because they're 3-2-2, which shows to me that maybe they don't, close a lot of games out, but they're at least in it, not losing too often.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So yeah, be interesting to see. One last thing I want to talk about is Jozwiak. He's now in the country in Charlotte. where do you think he fits into this team? Especially with how successful this 4-2-2 system has been. Where do you see him sliding in? Who do you see him taking out?
Bruschi definitely has something to say about it. I'm curious to see if he's gonna take the spot of Rios or if he's gonna take the spot of Franco.
Yeah, that's Franco's kind of who I was imagining, just because I think Yazbek does prefer to be on the right, and I don't see him taking Rios' spot just because I don't think he's a good complement to Swiderski in that way of being like the target guy, the hold up guy.
Yeah,
I think he'll actually benefit from Rios, because he's got that speed. If Rios can hold it up and then just switch field into open space,
yeah,
I think that gives Yazwiak a lot of good opportunities. And then I think him and Sergerski link up better off like 1-2 passes, movement off the ball.
no, yeah. I can see that. I just hope he gets in good health and can start getting some matches in sooner rather than later. Because we are coming up against some tough opponents,
Yeah.
and then just fighting to stay where we're at on the tables and to get that playoff spot. The more weapons we have to utilize, the better.
Yeah, speaking of that, we've moved up to 5th in the table. Has your expectations for this team changed since the LA game?
Dramatically, yeah. Oh, yeah. Since the first, even since the first game when we lost to DC United, where we went down, I believe it was 3-0.
Yeah.
You and I watched briefly that game while we were at Top Golf, and we're like, yes, new team, it's not gonna be good. I think I even joked to you like, have fun at the games watching them lose. But now, like, this has done as far as what I think of the team and where they can go. It's my opinion has done a 180. Now if we were to go to playoffs right now, like obviously would be in.
Yeah.
I didn't see them being the top half of the table at all.
Yeah.
I think in previous episodes, I marked them as like
fighting for that 7th spot.
Yeah, maybe like middle of the table or a little bit right below it. But now it's like we're in the top 5.
Yeah,
that's amazing, and congratulations to these guys for proving everybody wrong. Because I'm sure I was not the only one. I think there's even out there a tweet or an interview where the coach that he did not have high expectations. So,
yeah, it's hard to right when you're a brand new team. It's hard to have title winning expectations. I don't think we're there yet of title winning,
right?
But I think a playoff run is definitely in the picture.
Yeah. Well, and then also you start getting compared to all these other new expansion teams that have went out and won it early after being inaugurated. Atlanta being one of them. I think the New York Football Club being another one. I think Austin. I don't think Austin has won. I can't recall.
This is their first season.
Is their first, but they're doing very well as so.
Yeah.
No, Austin's is not their first season.
Pretty sure it is.
No. I think last year was their first season.
I don't think so. I think this year is.
No, because Melissa went to one of the games last year.
If I'm wrong, I'm cutting all this out.
All right, you heard him. He's getting tattooed. But yeah, when you start getting compared to some of these other expansion packs that have won and had great success early on, it's hard. So I could see why, even as a coach. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. 2021.
I
thought this was their first season.
Put that on repeat. It's
I'm cutting all this out.
Of this episode. Pablo's right.
All right, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying, when you get compared to these other teams, and it's a hard. You get held up to a higher standard, and it wasn't looking too good at the beginning, but now it's like it's doable.
Yeah, especially with I think the big difference is being like how much especially in the Atlanta case, which is the one we're probably going to get compared to the most, just being, so close and such
Right.
similar markets. I mean, they definitely spent, from what I understand, a lot more money on players and, getting the team going than we have.
Yeah.
Which will
Which
be
I'm sure we'll
interesting.
do eventually down the road. We'll probably do the same thing where we in a slump or we have the funds, and why not go out try to get like a top tier player. But right now the team is doing its absolute best with what they have, and these guys are out there, they're in a new team. They're trying to make the best of it, and they're trying to prove themselves, and they're doing, incredible.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Because I'm right.
And they still have a DP slot open. That'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully Pepper opens up the wallet, lets Ramirez go crazy.
To put me in. Scored 2.
Yeah, what was the final score?
I don't know. We got beat like another 14-7 or 3.
Yeah, I don't know. We got 7. But anything else you want to mention on the team?
No. I think we covered a good bit for this game. As far as it being an early goal and another one not going in at all. It was a good back and forth battle. I know statistically it was like for possession, it was 51% to 49 with Charlotte having 51. So you might as well just call it just an even 50-50, which it certainly seemed that way. But I think if there was anything to, I would say, improve for this match, would have been just in the second half, press a lot more for that second goal. But
yeah,
they did fine. They had plenty of shots on goal where they kept the pressure up. It was just unlucky that they didn't go in.
Yeah, and being able to grind out a 1-0 win, that's huge for teams, to have the discipline to not let an equalizer go in or anything like that.
Yeah, that's what really worried me, especially in the last 10 minutes of the game, is when you see Atlanta start pushing more and pushing more, because they're getting desperate. They're counting down the time as well.
Yeah.
And then they get that 93rd minute corner. I'm like, man, that was probably one of the sloppy plays, I thought.
Yeah. Any score prediction for next week?
2-0.
2-0. We win. Yeah, I'll have to go with that as well. All right. Well, that wraps up our episode. Email in if you want to shout out and give us your thoughts on the review. If you've got some, yeah, go for it.
All right. So, on Apple Podcast, when you guys leave reviews, we're gonna start reading some of them, and we're gonna just do as shout outs. So now I gotta pull them up. So this one is from, but the name says Jen Approved. I wonder who that is. So this one says, Charlotte FC, excited to have a Charlotte FC podcast to listen to. Great stuff. A shout out.
Shout out. Thanks for putting up with the audio issues. Hopefully this one doesn't have any.
Yeah, hopefully this one doesn't have audio. And sorry about the audio issues where the guy who does the editing is not very good.
It's my dog.
This one is from Ty34563. Says, these guys break down the matches very simply and make it enjoyable to listen. They have made me a fan of the team.
Hey, shout out. Tepper, give us some money.
Okay, and the last one from Big Knob Rob is, out of all the Charlotte FC podcasts there are, I prefer this one. Great game breakdown, and it's fun to listen to on my commutes. All right.
I don't believe that guy. I think there's a lot better podcasts out there.
That one was from Putin.
All right. Well, yeah, if you want to shout out, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. We'll be able to find it. Or, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at offsides_CLTFC. And, look out. There might be a giveaway coming up soon here in the summer for some tickets. So why don't you get an early follow on that? And if you enjoy the podcast, leave a review and tell a friend. And we will catch you later.
Bye.